everybody, what's going on? Yes, it is me indeed. I am back for round two. Um, as I said yesterday, this channel is primarily about gaming, but I do like to talk about sports as well. And honestly, haven't really posted much because I just don't feel like it. I'm kind of lazy. I'm gonna try to get back into the groove of things, and I think a good way to get back into the groove of things is talk about the Knicks since they're on. And as I said yesterday in my video, it's really refreshing to see the Knicks be good. Now, are they championship contenders? No. But are they fun to watch? Absolutely. This is probably the most, as I said before, this is probably the most excited I've been about the Knicks in a while. And to kind of stay on that topic, I'll be talking about them mostly. I'll talk about the NBA if you guys want me to. But I think a good way to keep fresh and excited, especially with the Knicks, is doing uh, season, or not even season recaps, game recaps. Since I try to watch all the games, I catch probably in a year, there's about 82 games. I'll probably watch like 75 of them. In the last couple of years, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched a lot of the games because the team has just been terrible. Um, but I'd still watch about 50 plus games a year. I'm dedicated. But regardless of all that, the Knicks did have a game last night. They had a chance to go over 500 for the first time this year, I think. Were they 500? They might have been 500 already, but nonetheless, the Knicks are currently in the playoff mix in the shit show that is the Eastern Conference, which from 4 to 11 is in the mix for the playoffs, maybe even 4 to 13 actually, which just shows you how bad the Eastern Conference is. And I was actually watching the jump today, um, and they said there's only, I believe they said there's only 4 teams over 500 in the Eastern Conference, and that just tells you how bad the East is this year. But last night, the Knicks in their first game with fans, the first time fans were allowed back in the Garden, first game against the Warriors with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, and they were getting Jameis Wiseman back. They got a lot of their players back who were hurt. Steph actually missed a couple of games on the Charlotte trip. It was exciting. It was exciting, and going into the game, I think most people, including myself, thought that they were gonna probably lose. I felt like Steph was gonna put on a show, and it was really nice because they had announced the All Stars reserves. Julius Randle got in, so again, congratulations to Julius Randle, you sir. Might I say, having a tremendous year. Shout out to you. It was nice to see the fans chanting MVP for Julius. They were loud. I mean, it was only 2,000 fans allowed at the Garden, but it felt like 18,000. And I know that's a cliche thing to say, but it really did feel like the energy was there. The energy was back in MSG. And, they had the tribute video. Julius's mom was congratulating him, and you saw how excited he was. That was very nice. So good feelings. There was good vibes. It was exciting. It was like, yeah, the fans are back. Now they get to see this team who bust their ass. And the game happened. Now, granted, the first half was good. The Knicks had the lead. Um, but there were some problems I was seeing early on in the game. First of all, I know everybody makes fun of Draymond Green for calling, he's Mr. Triple Single. Um, obviously all the jokes have been made about Draymond being a bad player when he doesn't have Steph, Clay, and Kevin Durant around him. But Draymond Green is the ultimate glue guy. He's the ultimate X factor that you need on a team to win a championship. You would love that guy on your team, and you hate him, and you despise it when you have to go against him. And I absolutely despise Draymond Green because he is just so good. He can wreck an entire game, and he did last night. First of all, most of the time, teams are doubling Julius Randle because they need to double team him because they don't have people who can defend him. With Draymond Green, you don't need to do that. So that immediately eliminates an element of the next game where when Julius is being double teamed, he's either gonna score because he'll still be able to. Sometimes teams kind of fake the double teams, just kind of send bodies his way to distract him and he still ends up scoring. Or what Julius has done great this year, which he did a bad job last year, is he's finding the open man and the Knicks are actually hitting their shots occasionally. Again, we're a very inconsistent 3 point shooting team, but with Draymond last night, they didn't have to do that because they could put Draymond on him, and then they would put a Kelly Oubre on him, who, although Kelly Oubre weighs 50 pounds less than Draymond, is a very good defender, even though he kind of annoys me too with his. He, he gets underneath your skin. But those are the players I personally love. Hate that I have to play against them, but I love them. I love a guy like a Kelly Oubre and a Draymond Green. So last night they were doing a good job on Julius, and the Knicks heading into halftime had the lead. They were up 55-52. They were playing well. They were shooting the three ball well. They were finding the open man. They were containing Steph Curry and the Warriors. And the thing that really struck me about the Warriors is when their bench unit got in, their offense completely just stopped. I mean, Eric Pascal's come back from an injury. They had Wanamaker. Kent Bazemore. Their bench is not as formidable as it has been in years prior. And the Knicks bench, which had been struggling the last couple of games, especially Derrick Rose and Emmanuel Quickly, who I love the kid, but he's been struggling. They were struggling a lot. They played really well. Obi played great last night. Tosh came in, provided a spark. Derrick Rose was on fire early in this game. He was playing tremendously. Um, and the bench unit really got us back in the game because the stars were slacking. RJ was struggling. Alfred Payton was doing his signature stat padding, although I think he's very serviceable on the defensive side of the ball. He has this tunnel vision and this inability to finish at the rim that just frustrates the ever loving crap out of me every single game. But regardless, heading into the second half, it was a good game. It was a close game, and the Knicks were up three. And I thought that the Warriors were going to run out of gas, and their bench unit was going to have to come in, and the Knicks bench would take over. What I wasn't accounting for was the terrible start that the Knicks had in the third quarter. I mean, I believe at one point they had more turnovers than made field goals. I mean, it was that bad. And, people will either love Steph Curry or hate Steph Curry. I think he gets a little too much butt kissing towards his way. But there is no denying his greatness. And I personally love watching Steph Curry because he is like a maestro. And he took over the game in that third quarter. And it was, unfortunately, it was horrible to watch as an opponent, but as a fan of the game, the man is just sensational. I mean, he was, oh my god, it's just unbelievable. Some of the threes he made were just unbelievable. People, I mean, we're talking about Alfred Payton, Derrick Rose. He's got guys in his face, all on him, double team. He's making threes, banking it. I mean, hitting off the glass. It was unbelievable to watch, and he really gave him the spark. And then the Knicks were down 13, and you could just see they didn't have energy. They were lackadaisical on the defensive side of the ball, no offensive flow. They really start to struggle making threes, and that's been the problem all year for them. Is this inability to make threes consistently, and they don't shoot a lot of threes because they don't really have 3 point shooting. I mean, Reggie Bullock is an okay 3 point shooter, but you can't rely on him that much. He's he's either hot or cold. Same thing with Alec Burks. Same thing with Alfred Payton. Well, not even with Alfred Payton. Alfred Payton can't shoot a lick. Give him credit for trying, but he doesn't shoot the ball well. So after that second half came on, you could see that the Knicks starters didn't have the spark, and the bench came in and they did, because the Warriors had to put their bench in, and the Knicks bench was just better. But the thing that just kept striking me about it was just like the Knicks were getting so close to taking the lead or tying, and they just couldn't get it. There was either a turnover that cost them, a missed shot. Personally, I think there was a lot of calls that were not called last game, but I don't want to sound like every NBA fan who complains about the refs. It's just part of the game. The Knicks weren't getting calls last night. The Warriors were. There were some really questionable things, but that wasn't truly what cost the Knicks the game. I think that kind of messed up their flow, but there was a lot of other factors that kind of cost the Knicks the game. And the thing that struck me the most last night is you saw what a superstar on your team can do. Steph Curry took over the game. The Knicks don't really have a superstar closer. Maybe Julius Randle and RJ will be that in the future, but right now they're still trying to figure it out. And RJ had a rough game last night. Julius as well, and Derrick Rose is not really the same player he once was. He can only really hit you with a spurt of good play, and then you have to, you know, play somebody else. Um, and just last night, it was just a lot of missed layups, a lot of missed opportunities, and it was just the Steph Curry show in the fourth quarter. He took over. Draymond Green took over. They did their job. Um, and it was just frustrating because you can see where this team can get to, where they can be with their great defense. If they had a closer, if they had better offense, this could be a very, very good team in a couple of years. Maybe. We don't know how the future can be, like I said in my last video. You can put all your bags in an RJ Barrett and a Kevin Knox and an Obi Toppin. They could all be busts. We don't know. But that was the thing that struck me the most was the inability to close the game. And Julius Randle was trying, and RJ were trying, but they're just not there yet. Whereas with the Warriors, you saw that they have a guy where Steph was just lighting it up. He's coming off double teams, finding the open man. He's coming off double teams, shooting the three ball, draining it. He's getting in the paint, making no look passes to Eric Pascal, dunking it. No look passes to Kelly Oubre, dunking it. No look passes to Andrew Wiggins for threes. I mean, Draymond is making precision passes. It was just basically just what the Warriors have done for the last decade in the league. Dominated, absolutely dominated. Well, not a decade, about like 8 years, close to a decade. Um, so overall, I think the Knicks still have a long way to go. As I said, I don't know if they're gonna even make the playoffs. They could drop out of the mix, but they work hard, they play hard. And the one thing I'll also say is Alfred Payton, man, he gets a lot of flack. He gets a lot of hate from the fans because he's just tunnel visioned, offensive inabilities. I personally think he's a serviceable like backup point guard for a good team. Starting point guard wise, I don't know. I still think the Knicks are looking for that. I don't know if Emmanuel quickly will be that. As you can see, IQ's kind of hit the rookie wall now. He's struggling a little bit. We'll see how he bounces back against the Kings tomorrow. Um, but the thing that was very noticeable last night as well is EP was just shooting too much, man. I mean, when you go 8 of 19, you have 20 points. You're the starting point guard. That's not good. You got to pass the ball more, EP, or you got to finish. And a couple of things just didn't go the right way for the Knicks, and Julius Randle got kicked out, and it was just ridiculous. But a frustrating game, although fun to watch because it was nice to see them competing. But there are no sympathy wins in the league. It's about winning, so the Knicks need to get better, and we will see what happens in Sacramento. But overall, a pretty good game for the Knicks. They just come up short. A couple things don't go their way. They're missing a lot of shots. I believe they were 53% in the restricted area versus the Warriors, who were 78%. That's your game right there. Um, so at the end of the day, the Knicks just gotta get better. You know, bench gotta play better. They gotta finish more at the rim, be much better at shooting. It's part of the process of the rebuilding team. I understand, and that's why I'm okay with the loss last night. It was frustrating. It felt crappy, but kind of just happens. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I will probably have a review tomorrow too, and hopefully we don't get destroyed by the King because they kicked our ass last time. But we will see. So see you guys in the next video. Peace out. I'm sorry again. Please don't sue me for that. I don't know who does that. Sorry.